Good morning, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us today. Today we're going to be going over a presentation and overview of BOLDBuild 2.0. We're going to be going over our sales module, and it is a comprehensive solution for sales and pre-construction. My name is Olivia Johnston, and I'm a strategic sales executive here at AlphaBold. I'm joined by Tyab Ali, who's our VP of Consulting Services and oversees all of our practices here. So,
hello everyone.
Hi Tyab. So before we jump in, I want to quickly go over the agenda we have planned for you today. So first we're going to go over the construction industry today and some of the ongoing challenges. And then we're going to go over BOLDBuild and the benefits that it has for our customers. And then we're going to give you an introduction of what BOLDBuild is. So for those of you that don't know, BOLDBuild is a solution that we've built here internally at AlphaBold for the AEC space. But then we're going to go into a more specific demo that's catered towards the sales and pre-construction side of it. So there's a lot of rich functionality that we've added, and so we're really excited to share that with you today. In addition to that, I want to just mention that we're going to be offering a special engagement at the end of this demo, and that's something you definitely want to stick around for at the end. And if you have any questions throughout the presentation, we're going to be covering a lot of content, so please submit your questions in the chat box. I will be monitoring it, and Taya will be pausing intermittently throughout the presentation. Any questions that are specific to something that needs a little bit of follow-up, we'll make sure that we circle back with you after this concludes. All right. So let's get started. All right, so the AEC industry today, architecture, engineering, and construction. I want to start by going over these challenges. They're very common across not only the construction industry, but really any industry that requires managing any sort of service, maintenance, or project teams out in the field. So we find a lot of customers within the construction space are unable to access very important information to make key business decisions. So you can see here that we've shortlisted a couple of these that we want to go over with you, and then we'll be going over how BOLDBuild actually helps mitigate these challenges pretty significantly. So from a document standpoint, the average construction professional spends an estimated of 35% of their time hunting down project-related information. And with that, 50% of contractors still fail to capture and review data consistently. This results in $175 billion in labor costs in 2018 alone, which we all know we have no room to afford at this point in time due to the shortage. So we're excited to show you how with BOLDBuild, customers can access information instantly. So from anytime, anywhere, and it's through a single source of truth. So it's a cloud system. And with project tracking, only 42% update their schedules daily or weekly. So these are project managers. And of that 42%, only 20 update their projects within 1 to 2 days of becoming aware that there's a change. So this can actually really impact your bottom line, and a lot of things can go overlooked. And if this happens enough times and more regularly, then it just kind of builds up over time and really can help eat away at those margins. So, and then with change orders, so only 36% of change orders are actually collected and documented. So this kind of goes hand in hand with the updating the project schedules. This can play a really significant role in the field when it comes to like managing your budget versus actuals. So Ty's going to be showing us how you can manage both change orders and project changes quickly, efficiently, and in real time. So you can make sure you capture those right away and that they don't impact your bottom line. Okay, so labor productivity, 62% of GCs feel that the number one reason project teams and communication fails is, communication and collaboration between project teams is the number one reason for the lack of labor productivity. There we go. So this is an ongoing issue as well. In BOLDBuild, we're going to show you how you can actually pre-configure tasks. So you can generate those in the pre-construction phase so that the process is always tracked and communication stays streamlined and it's always cohesive between both contractors and subs. All right. Next slide, please.
All right. Just to add to that, so I'm going to show you how you can do document management and data management, project tracking, bids, proposals, change orders, and then how to be more productive from the labor standpoint. So we're just talking about a little over 175 billion in saving for you guys.
I wouldn't put it that way. Okay. So, yeah. Okay. So then there was a study that we included in this, and just because we're going over our sales module and the more pre-construction sales side of things, I'm only going to really cover the first 3 or 4 of them. But so Dodge and Data Analytics surveyed more than 200 contractors and trade professionals, and that's kind of where all of these results came from. But the goal of it was to identify and analyze the processes that they have in place for executing on these projects. So the biggest thing that contractors had expressed was that they lack a single place to aggregate the information and knowledge and then how to use it in a meaningful way. aka is to improve their business, improve productivity. So there isn't really a set bar for how to do that or KPIs. So this study was able to generate these 7 that you see here. And it's a good gauge to see, maybe where your organization might be tracking metrics, what kind of reporting you're using, and then that goes back to the reporting capabilities in BOLDBuild that we'll be showcasing are very, very powerful, and our dashboards are very user-friendly, so really excited to show you those. And I think that's about it. Next slide, please. All right, so I'm going to pass it over to Tyab, but again, any questions, please put them in the chat box. I will be monitoring them. Tyab, is there anything else you want to add before we start?
Oh, I'm good. Thank you so much.
Awesome.
So I'm going to just scare you with a few more facts, guys. So let's see. So 2.5 million is what you can save using our BOLDBuild solution because it optimizes tasks that are non-optimal. It can help you eliminate 48% of rework that is done in the construction space today. It's based on a study that we'll be able to share after this webinar as well. We have a module that gives you executive oversight. So not only you, but also your executives could see where the time is being wasted. I don't know if it's a good thing or a bad. And then we have one integrated solution, which is one of the biggest problems with the construction industry, that you work with 6 or 7 different solutions. What we have tried to do is to put together a system that integrates all those systems or just provides you one single source of truth by capturing the data in one space. We have these segments. We have the analytics module, we have sales module, field operations, project management, and accounting modules for BOLDBuild. We won't be able to cover all of these as per the agenda of the webinar. The focus is sales and pre-construction, so we're going to be focusing on that. I have a few more slides before I get into the demonstration here, so bear with me. Few more pain points on the sales side of things to be more specific. So we are in this age of distraction. Most of the sales people who are using tools, they are distracted up to 14%, and this reduces their productivity significantly by 14% to be precise. And this is for people who are very on the job. For somebody who is like me, who is distracted, irrespective of these tools, you can imagine it would be much higher. Then you come into the challenges that we have on the sales side in construction, especially the number of people involved in the purchase process. They are huge from the external standpoint, and the decision-making process could be huge as well. Like it could be months before you are granted the project. So what's important is to have a very well-defined sales process, which is exactly what companies lack in construction. And there is no way of collaborating between different teams, because if you're bidding a project, you have your sales team involved, you have your estimation team involved, you have your pre-construction team involved in there as well. So all that is not streamlined today, which causes huge challenges from construction selling. Non-optimal tasks. So here is a slide that shows you how much time is being wasted on non-optimal tasks. So the three that I would like to highlight is conflict resolution, which is primarily because there's no single source of truth. Rework and mistakes, and that's what I kind of catered to in one of the previous slides as well. It's 15.2%. And just finding and organizing project data, it is 14% of the overall non-optimal tasks. So just in case you guys were wondering what you have been doing, where your time has been wasted, so here's another slide for you. So 35% of time is being spent on non-optimal tasks. So looking for project data information, conflict resolution, and dealing with mistakes. 65% is when we are actually working in the construction space. So just in case this wasn't good enough, just to rub it in a bit more from the dollar standpoint, here's the dollar cost breakdown from the role standpoint that you can see on your screen. It doesn't include all the roles that are involved. Again, like I mentioned, there could be so many teams that are working together, so this can be a huge impact on your bottom line. So benefits. So how does BOLDBuild sales module tries to fix some of these issues? So we have kind of three-pronged approach here. We try to present to the sales team as well as the estimators and pre-construction what is important for them. We have tried to streamline the process, and we give them the ability to get access to what they actually need to be able to perform their tasks. So this is what we feel is most important, that you have a guided process throughout the flow. So we have the qualify stage, we go into the takeoff stage where the estimators and the sales team collaborates. Then there's a lot of heavy lifting on the overall generation of the contract and how it links to a multi-site or a single-site project. All of that is managed through the sales, and then you have analytics here as well that show you how you stand in each of these stages within the process. From the seller's workflow standpoint, there is a lot of focus on collaboration that I will be able to showcase in the demonstration as well. And whatever I show you today is also mobile friendly, so you can access it in your web browsers, but you can also access all of that on your tablets or your cell phones. And the third one is to start with what you need. So what we do is we integrate with many platforms. So we're going to showcase some of the examples, but we can integrate with any accounting system that you have in the organization. And when I say any, I literally mean it. We have integrated with SAP, Dynamics AX. We have integrated with a lot of other ERP tools that are construction specific as well, like Foundation. So whatever you have, you'll be able to pull in data from that system and surface that information for you. And the integration is not just limited to the backend systems or the ERP/accounting systems. It can also be integrated with your estimation tools that you have. So from the sales standpoint, the thing that we will be focusing on in the demo is the sales process automation, the ability for you to be able to effectively track your opportunities, to be able to quickly generate bids and proposals so that you could send those out there, convert your proposals into PDF. All of that you can do in a single click, which is a huge time saver for some of the customers that we have. And then by doing all this, our hope is that we are eliminating double entries, and we are trying to bring in all the data into one system so that we could give you a holistic view of where you sit from the opportunity standpoint, as well as we go into the pre-construction phase from the contractual as well as project standpoint. In the pre-construction, I'll show you the contract generation, management of the contract, and document tracking against the contract, show you multi-site project creation, how you can organize your teams vis-a-vis your contracts as well as your projects that you have, budgets and change orders that Olivia touched upon in the start of the presentation. And then we also have process flows that are more project specific. So with that, I'm going to jump into the demonstration here. So like I mentioned, we have a lot of modules, but the one that we would be focusing on is the sales and pre-construction module. So let me just transition over. So what you see on your screen is the BOLDBuild sales app. We have 3 different apps like I shared, so you can go into our foreman app, project management app, and the sales app. The foreman app is for the people on the field to be able to submit their time. The project management app is for mostly operations and the project management teams to be able to track the projects. But our pre-construction and sales is part of our sales app, so that's what I'm going to cover today. Before I get into the flow, I want to just show you that we have dashboards on top of the sales module as well. So here you can see that I have a sales dashboard that shows me all of my sales opportunities that I have in the system. It's showing me actual revenues versus estimated revenues, qualified project margins. This is all possible based on the fact that we are able to collect the data that I'll show you throughout the rest of this presentation. And then we have a forecasting dashboard, which is very, very important from the sales standpoint in this industry, construction, because there's so many subcontractors that you have to bring on board. So this is kind of forecasting into the future for you. If I go on to the first sheet. So for example, you can see it's already looking at 2020 and showcasing for different services that we are offering. So for example, if you as a general contractor offer construction as well as electrical, or structural as well as electrical, as well as engineering, so you can look at them by different view perspective here. Let me just log in here again. Then if I go into the detailed data, I can see the exact breakdown, and I have links here that I can click to just open up any of these opportunities as well. This is our second sales dashboard, and then I have vital factors dashboard, which is equally important because this is what you can use to track how your team is doing vis-a-vis their targets. And you can also see how many proposals we are generating in each month that we have. And we also have a construction focused, project focused, Power BI dashboard that we can use here. But we won't be focusing on this today since we will be focusing primarily on the sales and pre-construction side of things. But I'm just showing this to you that the solution BOLDBuild is not limited to what I'll cover today. It goes over and beyond. But now we're going to jump into what we promised as per the webinar, which is the sales and the pre-construction. So I'm going to go in and I'll just go ahead and create a sales opportunity. So I'm going to say John Baker is my sales contact. UCSD is my customer, and your end user and bidding too can be different because you might be working with EPCs, you might be working with as a subcontractor, but here I'm taking the example that I'm a general contractor working directly with UCSD. UCSD is essentially University of California, San Diego, and I'm going to say I'm the owner of this opportunity, and what I'm helping them with is their outpatient pavilion. This is one of the recently done projects by them. So I'm going to just use that, and with that, I'm going to save this information. So I'm starting because we have only like 30 minutes here because I want to keep the last 10 minutes for question and answers. So I am going to be switching different hats. I won't be logging out and logging back in with different roles, but right now I am working as a sales rep, right? So I just created this opportunity, and I can go in and I can make a phone call to them. I can send an email, and let's say if I make a phone call and I figure out that they are interested in call and they want just the electrical services from us, right? So I can go in there, I can track that. It tracks all of this, to be honest, and each and every touch point will be tracked on this timeline. And anybody who comes in can see what's going on. And you can add in your sales team in here if you have a bigger team. So for example, I can go in here, I can say, add in one of my team members, for example, Anna. And I add her in and I can define a certain role that is for her. She is a sales professional who would be helping me. If I have estimators, I can add them in here as well. If I have different other stakeholders from the client standpoint, in addition to John, I can add those as well. And at any given point in time, it will give me a chronological order of all the interactions that I've had with them. But like you saw in here, we determined that they are interested in primarily electrical services. So the first thing I do is I go in as a sales rep and I say that the service type that they want is electrical. So I'm going to just select that and click add here. And as soon as I do that, it's going to bring it up here. So I have established that this is what they're interested in. I can do additional stuff as a sales rep, but when I feel that, okay, there is something here, I'm going to move it to the next stage. And what you see on the top is our sales process. And at this stage, I can hand it over to the estimation team so they can come in and start creating the estimates. But before I do that, as a sales rep, I have established the sites that they are interested in. So let's say they want us to do the services for 2 sites, La Jolla and Scripps Ranch. So I'm going to add both of these in here. And because I have selected here the service type to be electrical, it adds in some of the inclusions and exclusions that are specific to the service type as well as the scope of work, which I'm going to cover in a bit. But what happens at this stage is it sends out an email to the estimation team and it tells them to start working on creating estimates for this opportunity that I have. So now imagine that I am an estimator and I log in and I will see that I'm sitting in the develop stage, which is where the estimator is supposed to come in and upload the bids. So the first thing the estimator does is it goes into the bids and it is going to create a bid for this opportunity. So they click on new bid, and this is where there are different ways to go about it. If you're using an estimation tool already, we integrate with that. If you're using Excel for your estimation, as a lot of people in construction, they just love Excel, and as much as we try, they can't do away with it. So we thought that, okay, we're going to integrate Excel in here. And then if you don't have any of that and your estimation is simple, which is hardly the case in case of general contractors, we can also build an app. We have some apps that we have built. We just changed them and configure them so you could use them. In this case, though, as an estimator, I come in and I say, okay, this estimate I'm uploading is for UCS de La Jolla, and I'm going to select my Excel, which I've already prepared for the estimates. And as soon as I do that, what happens is that it starts reading through the Excel and it tells me that your bid is created, but bid detail records are being created. And you can see now that it is starting to share information with me. The total revenue on this bid is almost 760,000. The base price is around 560,000. It's telling me the cost as well, so it's important because my cost is high that they select the alternates. So if I go into the bid details now, it has created total labor, total materials, total subcontractor, equipment, others. And here is my bid details. And since I uploaded the electrical bid, you can see that a lot of these cost codes will represent that. So for example, if I go through this, it's all equipment, safety, if I keep on going, electrical travel, wiring, commissions, all of that kind of comes in from my Excel that I use to upload this information. It just pulls in from the Excel format that I have. And this is completely configurable. So whichever Excel you're using, we'll be able to bring all the bid details in here. And if I scroll down, you can see that I have an add-on or an alternate, which is for the fire rated doors in here. And the cost for that is $159,000 and estimated revenue is $200,000. And that's what you saw reflected in here, where you saw that the revenue, including that, is $759,000, but without that, the base price is this. Now, the multiple things that you can do in here, unfortunately, because of the time, I won't be able to cover all of those, but you can say that this has options. So this can be a base bid or it can be an optional bid as well. And based on that, you can define whether it should be included in the overall opportunity revenue or not. So what I'm going to do now is, so I've added one bid, and just for the sake of it, I'm just going to add one more for the second site. So one was, if you go in here, one site was La Jolla, the other was Scripps Ranch. So I'm going to go back in and I'm going to add in the second bid in here for Scripps Ranch. scripts branch. And I will just use the same estimate for now just to keep it simple because it would help me explain to you the budgeting aspect as well as the change order because the amounts would be the same. So it would help you trust me in this webinar. So I go back in and I'm on the opportunity now and obviously it's working and you can see what it did is that it has aggregated the amounts from these bids. So I have two bids, each one of them is almost 800K and my total estimated revenue is 1.6 million. So at this stage, as an estimator, I'm going to go in. I'll say the estimates are complete. I completed them today because I'm super efficient since I'm using BOLDBuild. I am going to say new facility type and I'm going to go to the next stage. And in this stage, you can generate a proposal and send it out. And this is where I was sharing with you when we were at the slides, and I know you were not paying attention. But when I click on this generate proposal, it is going to, in single click, generate a proposal here. And it is going to take both the bids that I have and incorporate them into one. And this format that I'm going to show you is completely configurable, so you can generate a proposal however you want to generate it. But obviously, for the sake of this example, we wanted to just use an example of the proposal. And it tells me that your proposal has been generated, check notes. I'm going to refresh this. And I'm going to go into my timeline, and you see it has generated a proposal for me here. So I click on this, and as soon as I click that, it will download this proposal for me. And if I open it up, it's going to open up this Word format proposal, which it automatically, by the way, converts to PDF before it sends it over to the customer. So you can see I have this UCSD proposal. It has my base bid amount. So if you remember, I had almost 400K in alternates. So bid alternates fire-rated doors is 400,000. I know this is probably not very relevant from the electrical standpoint, but just used it for this example. What it also does is it brings me the breakdown of the two bids that I have. If, for example, you want to generate a proposal that is specific to only one bid, you can deactivate the other one, so it's completely configurable from that standpoint. And as I go in, you can see I have the scope of work, which is all configurable, specific inclusions, exclusions, and then you have site-specific conditions as well. For example, if I go back in here and I change something, so for example, I use electrical, I put some stuff in electrical and I say, okay, in addition to this in inclusions, I want to add something like, this is demo, I hope they are still awake. So if I just put that in here and I save this and I go back to my opportunity and I generate the proposal again, it's going to take in my modification. Similarly for scope of work, it uses this template, but you can make changes to it. And if you generate a proposal again, then it will pull from this section here. And if you have a site-specific detail that you want to add in, then you would go into your bids. And within each bid, you have a section. Sorry, I clicked on the wrong link. Within each bid, we have a section. Unless I could click correctly. Within each bid, I have, sorry about that. Clicking on the site, not the bid. Here. Within each bid, I have a section here where I can add in the details that would also show up in my proposal. So I'll quickly generate one more proposal just to show you that one line that I added. So I'll click on generate proposal again. Again, it does all this stuff at the back end, pull in all the data again, and it is going to give me my second proposal. Just hold on for a second here. Okay, perfect. So I'm going to refresh this. Here is my second proposal. I'm going to download this and quickly show you. This should have my, I added something, I think, in inclusions. Yeah, here. So this is a demo. I hope they're still awake. I have that in here. So this is essentially something that you would then click on a button, you will send it out to your customer. And as soon as you send it, obviously in construction you might have to wait for months, but what I'm going to assume for this particular scenario is that you have multiple options from here on. not going to cover all of them, but our system supports the fact that you could get LNTP approval, which is limited notification to proceed. You could get an actual signed contract, but you get the signed contract just for one of the sites, which is the La Jolla site, and you don't get it for the Scripps Ranch. Or you get a verbal commitment from them. So whatever it is, you can just go in here and you can track all of these scenarios. The one that I'm going to cover for this demonstration right now is I'm going to say that they have awarded us the LA La Jolla bid. So I'm going to go in here. Sorry, not LA La Jolla, UCSD La Jolla bid. So I go in here and I click OK, and it was going to change this one bid to the awarded bid. So if I go back to my opportunity, what you will see is that it has reduced the estimated revenue of this opportunity. And what it has done is that it has created another opportunity for me, which is going to just be updated into a 1 status and it has taken the estimated revenue from that bid and put it in here. So if I refresh it one more time here, you can see that this is a 1 opportunity. And against this 1 bid, I'm going to now say I want to generate a contract. So now I'm moving away from the sales side more into the pre-construction side. And I'm going to say, okay, create a contract. And then it asks me for these multiple options. I can say I want a single contract per project per site. But in this case, the example that I want to demonstrate to you, because it looks cool from the budgeting standpoint, is that I'm going to have multi-sites in the same contract. And I'm also going to generate a project against this. So as I click proceed here, it is going to do 2 things for me. It is going to generate a contract against this bid or opportunity, and it is going to give me a project against this as well. So just give me 1 second here. So it's done doing its job. So I'm going to go to the contracts, and as I go in here, you see I have a contract without a name, and that's by design. We don't name this contract, so you have the provision to be able to name it. So I'm just going to name it as contract La Jolla. It's the whole contract for now. So I have this 1 contract that it has created, and I can save it. And you can see that now in this pre-construction space, I have the contract team here. Some of these are already filled in. The reason for that is that we have this provision to be able to create templates. So if you create a template for you, it is automatically going to set all of this for you. But I can also go in and set rest of the team in here. So I can give it a general estimator, general superintendent that I have, which is Tom Brady. I can set all of this detail in, and I can start building my contract and the project team. Similarly, if I go in here and check what I have on the contract line items, we can also see that in here. So it's going to track my contract lines in here as well, and it shows me that I have only 1 contract line, which is for the La Jolla site that I had. And if I show you, if I scroll, let's refresh first. If I scroll further down in here, it has created these bunch of pre-construction tasks for me, which is essentially it is saying that go do an initial meeting to discuss the project, planning the design, managing project scope, life cycle analysis, and it has put like due dates on those, and we have like a nice little view of seeing all these tasks in a Gantt chart as well. So it kind of presents to you the opportunity for your pre-construction task Gantt chart, which allows you to be on top of those as well. Now, in addition to this, what it has also done is it has also created a project for me, and my project has 1 site. Again, by design, it doesn't have a name, so I'm going to put in project here. And this time I'll say, okay, so this is my project, and again, I have a project team here. So this is more like project level resources, assistant project manager. You can come in here, and the first thing which probably you would do is you'll come in here, you'll set the project manager. I'm just setting random names right now, but you saw how it brought in Antonio, because in my template, I've already said that Antonio can be a project manager for every project that I do in San Diego. And I can set those rules in the system, and it will just respect those rules that it puts in those people in the system. Now, the most important thing is that it also creates budget for me. So I go in here and for example, you can see it uses all the estimates that I showed you and it sums them up together. So for example, you can see I have 1.4 safety here, which is the cost, code, labor, and TAS. And the reason why you see 2,000 in each one of, or you see these 4 columns, you have original customer price and you have a revised customer price so that we could handle the change orders. You have the original budget and you have the revised budget again so that we could handle the change orders. And if I open this up, it is going to even show me the bid level details that contribute towards this. So I go to the bid level details and you can see these are the 2 lines that are contributing to my budget line. In this case. So for example, my budget is 1.4 safety and these are the 2 lines that contribute towards that. So this is pretty cool based on the feedback that we are getting. And the biggest piece in addition to this is that it allows me to handle the change orders as well. So for example, I go and I do the site visit and I'm in the planning and estimation cost and offering cost savings options. And I realized that one of the options that we had put in is probably not as relevant as I thought it would be. So I'm going to go to this project and I'm going to be able to create a change order here. So let's say if I go in and I click on plus new, it is going to, let's say, change order. It's already selected my project. I can give it a change order number. I'm going to call it 123456 for now, and I'm going to save this. And as I save this, I'm going to go in here and I'm going to add a change order line item. And I can select the phase. And in this case, as you know, my phase is UCSD La Jolla, so it automatically selects that. I'm going to do it for the safety line because I showed it to you, so you'll be able to see how that changes. Remember, it was 2,000 when I started. So I'm going to come into the labor cost class, and I'll say, okay, I have $1,000 more on this, $1,000 more on the change to the cost as well as change to the revenue. So I'm going to save this now. And as I save this and I go back to my phase here, and then I go back to this project and I go into the project budget, you will see that my safety line item has changed. And you can see here that originally it was 2,000, but I have a $1,000 change order that it adds in here. And similarly, the original budget was 6,777 and some cents. And then I have the revised one coming up in here as well. And if I open this up, I can still see the breakdown. I can go into the bid details and I can see that, but I can also now go into the change order details and I can see my change order details there as well. And this is super awesome because what I'm showing you is only on one project level. But what I'm going to show you now is probably what you would like more. So I'm working on this. I'm trying to just get all my pre-construction stuff in place. And now all of a sudden I receive a confirmation from this customer that we are also set to start on the second site, if you remember that we had on our main opportunity. So I go back to my main opportunity and I go to the second bid that was for the Scripps branch, and I'm going to mark that as awarded as well because we won that one as well. So I go in and I say, okay. And this is cool now because what it will do is it will go, if I go back to the opportunity, you see that the estimated revenue is gone. And this is gone because originally it took half of it away and now it has taken the second half and it has created 2 opportunities for me. This is the first one. And sorry, it has added the same one to the second opportunity. So if I refresh it, and I go into the more opportunity section here, you can see that the estimated revenue has changed for this one. And now if I go back into this opportunity, I can click on create contract again. And once I click on create contract again, you will see it won't give me the options of whether it is a multi-site or not because it's telling me now that this is a multi-site contract. So it automatically understands that the second bid is the second site within this contract. So I'm going to go in and I'll say, okay, create it as a phase. Phase is essentially just a site. So I wanted to create a second site for Scripps Ranch. I'm going to hit proceed here. And as I do that, I will take you back to the contract. And if I go into the contract in here and I go to the contract summary, you will see that, am I in the contract? I'm not. Give me 1 second. I'm going to go to the contract, open up this contract. And in the contracts, you see everything that I had captured before is still there, but in the contract line items, now I have 2 line items. And both these line items are contributing to this. And if I go to the budget now, it has updated my budget. So you can, if you remember before it was 2,000, and since I used the same estimation sheet for both the bids or both the sites, now it has aggregated that to 4,000, but it's still keeping in view that 1,000 that I have for change order for the La Jolla site. So if I open this up for you and show you the bid details, now it's showing you 4 bid line items that are contributing to this. And it's still showing me one which is specific to UCSD La Jolla. So this is pretty awesome in terms of the capability that you get and you're able to manage your budgets and the change orders. And it's all grouped in one. So if I go to the change order detail, I see that one change order that I have. Now let's assume that you want to have another change order, but this one is now for the scripts branch. So you can go to your project again, and you can go to your project site. So you can see I have 2 project sites for this one. I have a script branch site and I have a La Jolla site. So if I want to create a change order for the script branch as well, let's assume that they also want $1,000 more in the labor cost. I'm going to click on new here, and I can do the same process in here as I go through this. Let me just quickly do that. COD2, and I'm going to say this one is 8. And I'm going to save this. And as I go to the line item level, you will see that that's where I set my phase. So I can go in here and I can say the phase is going to be for this one, scripts branch. And then whatever I put in here, let's say if I want to select the same, or maybe I should select a different one. Let me just say, plumbing, drilling, welding. I'll do all equipment. So I say, okay, the cost code for this, I'll use maybe equipment. I can put in $2,000 or $23,000. Wow. Here, I'll put this in 3,000, and I can save it. And this is going to then, similar to what you saw before, it's going to just reflect in my project as well. Continue. So I'll just be able to see it all in here as well. Now, you still maintaining your team. One thing that I don't know if you noticed, I didn't cover that. So as I add this project team, it automatically also maintains and adds these people to my contract team. So if I have multiple projects, it kind of tracks them in here, and you can see that it is telling me this. Like I have all these tasks and activities on the contract level, I can also have all these tasks and activities pre-configured on the project level as well. So if I go back in here on the project, I can see the similar kind of task breakdown in there on the project level as well. At any given stage within this process, we have access to the Stockin Management repository. So if you are in the pre-construction phase and you need to get your surety bonds, your building codes, your building permits, all the change orders that you're creating. By the way, change orders will automatically be converted into proposals just like I showed you for the original proposal and sent out to the customer. But your drawings, your certificates, your proposal, everything can be added in here. It's as simple as you click on the upload here, you select the document. And so for example, this one, and you upload it. Some of the documents that are generated automatically by the system, such as the proposal and others, they're automatically saved in here as well. So you can look at these different sites. In here, you can go, sorry, it doesn't show me sites on the project level, it shows it right here. You can look at that from this perspective, as well as you can look at the timeline. Now within this project, I have the flow as well. So I can go into the next stages. I can do the scheduling of all the tasks that I showed you. I can go into the reporting stages, and based on what industry you are in, this is completely configurable. So for example, if you are coming in from the mechanical industry, we have flows for that. If you are from the material standpoint, you are a vendor for materials, then your flow would be different because you are probably more interested in submittals and drafting and getting approvals from the customer and sending them over samples and stuff like that. And similarly, if you are from the electrical standpoint, I've already showed you that all the cost codes that I was using were for electrical. If you are from the solar standpoint, we can have a flow that is more specific to that. And what we have seen is that with this whole management, there is smooth transition out of this because I have my project here. And let's say once you get approval to start working on it, if you have your systems in place and we can integrate with them, it can send these cost codes over to your ERP systems, because then when you're using our Foreman app and you are tracking your time against these cost codes, we can give you extensive reporting on project budget versus actuals. And you as a project manager would just go in here and you will be able to see how your team is doing, and these committed cost and incurred cost and actual cost, they all get reflected and updated based on the actuals that are coming in by the field teams that you have. What it also does, and it hasn't done it because I haven't activated this project, is that as soon as I activate this project, it can create a work order for you. But now we are going away from the pre-construction more into the actual execution of the project stage. But it essentially does that for you as well. So this is what I wanted to cover. I'm going to go back to my slides and see if we have, unless we have any questions. Olivia, any questions that you have for me so far?
Yeah, someone did ask a question about the licensing and how it works.
All right, so this is built on top of Dynamics 365. And because it's built on top of that, so you have two options. If you have a license for Dynamics 365, we have an add-on license for that. If you don't have a license for Dynamics 365, then we have an ISV license for that. But we have different tiers based on the users that you have. So we can definitely have a follow-up with you and discuss the licensing. But obviously the idea here is that we have different licensing for different apps. So you can just buy the sales app and not use the project management in the Foreman app, and the licensing is different, versus you can buy just the project management or the Foreman, or you can buy the whole BOLDBuild suite and then you have a different licensing. So we can share that licensing model with you after this. Okay, I'm going to go back to my slides unless you have more questions, Olivia.
No, I'm good. Thank you.
Give me 1 second here. All right, so this is what we covered. Q&A, so if you don't have any additional questions, I'm going to go to the next steps. So this BOLDBuild sales solution that you saw, it is downloadable, and there's a free trial. The trial, this is BOLDBuild 2.0 that I demoed to you today. The trial is right now on 1.0 version. But if you're interested in trying it out, you can download it and see some of the features of it. It might not have the change order feature that I showed you, except for that it should have most of the functionality that I covered. You can use that trial for up to 2 weeks, and then we are offering as part of this webinar a free assessment where we can jump on a call with you and try to help you see which of our apps in either pre-construction, construction, or post-construction phases would be most relevant to you. And then we have, like I mentioned, we can integrate with any accounting system. One thing I do want to highlight, which I covered or touched upon a tiny bit, which was the creation of the contract from your bids. So our platform is extremely configurable, and it handles all the scenarios. So the first scenario that it handles is that you are on a bid, you want just one contract, and for each site you want one project. So it can do a contract and a project per site. But the one that I did, I said, I want just one contract and a project for multiple sites. It can also do that. And then the reporting that I was showing you is built so that it takes into consideration the design that as you award a bid, only that bid is going to show up in your forecasts because that's the one that is relevant. And then as you close it as one, then it is going to be taken out from your forecast and it is going to show up in the actual. So the fact that the way we have structured it is that if we take away from the starting opportunity, doesn't do anything wrong or harm to your forecasting, our forecasting dashboards, they still give you extensive forecasting, and they are part of our sales module. So when you get the BOLDBuild sales, you also get the sales dashboards, which gives you sales insights. Do you want to speak about this, Olivia? Unless you have more questions for me.
Let me check really quickly. I don't believe that we do. Yeah, I can quickly touch on this. So Ty had mentioned that we're offering a free consultation call to see, which one of our modules best suits your business. But we're also going to be offering a free business assessment. So this is something we're offering through the end of the year, and this is typically a paid engagement that we do with newer customers, but it gives us the opportunity to come on site, meet with you. We'd like to meet with your stakeholders, understand all of your processes. We also document them and to get an understanding of how you're using technology today, irrespective of whether it's a solution we offer or not. And then with that, we come up with your wish list and then a blueprint of your document or of your business processes, and then we provide that document to you, as well as provide you some sort of roadmap for implementation costs. You can take all of these, you can take some of these, so some people are looking to just review certain platforms, but you'll be receiving a poll after this, and you'll have an option to kind of pick, hey, I'm interested, no, I'm not, but it's something that is definitely free, and we're offering it only for a limited time, so something you might want to take advantage of. But I think that's it. Tab, do you have anything else you want to add?
Absolutely. So one thing I want to mention is that almost 50% of the customers that we have onboarded on BOLDBuild sales, they had one or more sales systems that they were using. Primarily, they were also using Salesforce. So we have migrated them over, and what we are able to offer from the sales and pre-construction standpoint is huge, and we have experience exporting data and importing that in and setting up the processes from that standpoint. And we're more than happy for you in case you want to talk to any of them as a reference, so you could understand their journey as they were onboarded onto this platform, because this probably is one of the only integrated sales module which allows you to start from the first touch point, like I did, from the first call all the way to the estimation, and then handing that stuff over to the pre-construction phase. And then, like I said, we also have the construction phases. It's not to say that we can replace all of the systems that we're using today, because there are so many disparate systems within the construction space, but we have everything exportable through exposable through a REST API, so we can integrate with all of those systems. So we have integrated with the estimation tools, we have integrated with the accounting and ERP tools, we have integrated with project management tools such as Rike, for example. So we will be able to do some of that for you. Rike offers API that if you guys are on that, we can incorporate that in, and we can pull in the tasks in here, and some of the things that I showed you will be able to do for you guys. So we have extensive experience on the integration side as well that can help you quickly onboard on this platform. So that's all I have, Olivia.
Great, thanks, Tab. Yeah, and we'll be following up with you with I've also attached a brochure to our solution, and we'll be following up with you to get some feedback. But thanks so much for joining, and we hope to see you at our next webinar. Thank you, Tab.
Thank you. Have a good day. Bye.
Bye-bye.